Okay, everybody who, grab a good seat and we'll get started. So I just want to welcome everybody to the Petersheim Closing Celebration Student Award Ceremony. So this is one of my favorite, actually, events here because, they're all great. I love them all, but there's something about this one that I like to take a perspective of this closing celebration. Not thank God it's over, but more of a, let's take a breath and, think about, well, what did we accomplish? What accomplished during this past week or during this past year or a couple of years, however long people have been here and working on whatever they're working on. I just think it's really important to do that. Many people have the thing, well, what's next? What's next? Going to do the next thing. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. But it makes sense to me. My perspective is that once in a while, recognize what you've done, not to, not so much in the spirit of celebrating yourself, but just understanding that what you're doing is good, beneficial for someone else, or something, whatever your work is. We've had students doing, in different programs throughout the university doing all kinds of different work. Some of that you'll hear about today, because the other really fun part of the program that I really came to like too is the award presentations. So later on, we're going to hear from some of the awardee students what their works were about and things like that. So it's really fun to listen to. For those of you who are visiting, so the Petersheim Expo is a university-wide exposition that was started by a professor in chemistry. He got this kicked off in 1998. Is that right, Dr. Kos? Around there? So for a long time, an annual event where the entire university makes special efforts, right, to showcase some of the work that they've done. And so the students get to present their works to faculty, to other students, to family and friends, and things like that. So it's really been a good week for us. So what I want to do right now is to introduce Reverend Dr. Forrest Pritchard, who is the director of the Martin Luther King Junior Leadership Program and Gospel Choir. He's also the senior advisor to the provost on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and he's also a teaching faculty here at our school. And I used to pass by his classroom on my way to my classroom and everything. We prayer, Reverend, is that correct? Just a heads up to you and anybody else who stands back here, this thing can slide out on you. There's tape on the side, so if you push it, it may hold for a minute.
So I'm going to take a hit and stand right here. Let's bow our heads and open our hearts for a brief word. When you're trying to teach us a lesson, color can be used to make the earth beautiful. We also want to thank you for the gift that really facilitates the work we do with the Expo. That gift was our brains. The ultimate capacity to think and create. Gave us a biochemical computer. You didn't want us to forget it, so you put it right on top of our shoulders. It took us thousands of years to replicate it. Wire and electronic engineering. That's the wonder of science. We come together to say thank you, and we come together to have fellowship. Bless of Matt Petersheim, may you cause us all in this university to prosper in all that we do. We ask this in your name, amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Okay. So, looks like we have a solution. All right, so to give our opening remarks, I want to call up Dr. Suli L. Chang. She's the director of the Institute of Neuroimmune Pharmacology. She's also Petersheim co-chair for the Petersheim Steering Committee. Dr. Chang, I guess you can use a standing mic right over there and be safe. Yeah, use either one, but you're probably better off over there because.
I think I used that one. Yeah, it worked. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 2024 closing ceremony. As a co-chair, I welcome you all. Thank you all to be here. And this year, that we are very grateful to the SHU unite the SHU community as a whole. We have the most incredible work that we have done to make the expo the very best, not yet. Our opening ceremony this year allow us the opportunity to know our interim president, Kadia Pasanini, to learn more about his outstanding scholarly research. It also gave us the opportunity to honor our 2024 BEAST presenter because they have been very successful this year after the 3 years work. All of the Petersheim events have given us, our student, faculty, opportunity to share their research with others and honor their dedication to presenting many topics. Regardless of their concentration, each researcher have worked hard to prepare and present their work during this week. And then for each of us, we are so proud of that. 3 years ago, you may remember we proudly celebrate the first quarter century of the Petersheim. And this year, we have advanced 1/8 of the second quarter century. At Seton Hall, to the student, congratulations and thank you for giving us the opportunity to enter into your world and sharing your research with us. And to the staff, we thank you for working hard to make all this possible. Look back there, they're still doing our filming, that we have the moment for the record. And to the faculty, congratulations and thank you for your constant support for our students while you are juggling about your own research. With juggling about the faculty own research to support our students, I particularly want to thank to those faculty showcase presenter. And I enjoyed 1 day of the year. I was sitting there, listen to learn our faculty's research, the depth, the width, and the innovation. Thank you so much. And then we have Norma and Maria organized this. So wonderful. Thank you so much. So with this being said, let's begin our celebration. And my job to lead you to begin our celebration is I need to give introduction to our keynote speaker. On behalf of Dr. Don Apka and myself, I'm very pleased to introduce our speaker today, Ms. Laurie Zolisi, and who will present her talk entitled My Journey to Petersheim and Beyond. Laurie was a student at Seton Hall. I have 5 minutes to talk. Laurie was a student at Seton Hall from 2020 to 2022. When she graduated summa cum laude with a bachelor degree in social work. In 2023, she received her master's degree in social work from Columbia University. And then her graduation was advanced standing, I would say that. Since graduation, Laurie has worked tirelessly to develop as a therapist, connect with others, and help her clients to achieve clarity and assistance regarding their specific problem. Her clients have stated that Laurie has a unique way of sympathy and a non-judgmental connection approach to all his interaction with the client. Her area of interest including anxiety, depression, grief, and loss, adjusting to the chronic illness, life transition, PTSD, and also general well-being. During her time at Seton Hall, under Dr. Apka's supervision, she has opportunity to engage in the 2021 Petersheim. And her work is about the COVID-19 pandemic on the adult. Her work review and review literature available on the effect of COVID-19 on older elder and opportunity for improvement. He focused on 6 different topics: loneliness and depression, physical health, ageism, misinformation, economic impact, and also technology. Laurie also emphasized the role of different kinds of people can take to lessen the burden of this pandemic at that time, and now, even now, we know that we have long COVID-19 for the future generations. This work won Laurie the Petersheim Traveling Award and that year, and also gave her the opportunity to share her work as 2022 at the first annual Big East Research Symposium at the Madison Square Garden. This symposium was implemented by interim President Katia Parzanini and other provosts at the Big East to open the expo, that we reach out to the Big East community and share, allow our students connect with the bigger research community. Laurie is a prime example of what the Petersheim Academic Exposition seeks to celebrate and highlight. She is not only a brilliant individual, but someone who works diligently to assist others around her and make her world a better place. To quote Dr. Apka, unfortunately she is not here, so I have to say all these things for her. Laurie is the epitome of the kind of student that we want to graduate at Seton Hall. She demonstrates how you can be a leader by being compassionate and assisting those who has not yet have the same achievement. We here are not only proud of Laurie's accomplishment, but are proud to have her as a representative of our university. We are so thankful that she has taken her very time from very busy schedule and traveling here to talk to us. Let's welcome Laurie. Very happy to see you here.
Just hit the arrow.
The arrow?
Forward
Perfect.
and back.
Hello, I'm Lori, and it's a complete honor to have been asked to come here and speak in front of you all for the Petersheim Conference. It's hard to imagine 2 years ago, I was like many of the seniors waiting to graduate. No, you didn't mishear me. I was 50 years old and graduating with my undergraduate degree. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is my story, my journey to social work. Up here is my 3 children. Just so you know. So I was born in rural Michigan to a very conservative family. They had strong ideas about the roles that women and men played in this world, very traditional. I'm going to tell you a little story that my mom probably wouldn't appreciate if she knew, but she's still in Michigan and won't know. When I was around 7 years old, I asked my mom, why did I need to learn how to iron, but my older brothers didn't? And she said, their wives will do it for them. That's the kind of traditional role that I was taught, that men went to school and women didn't. So when I graduated from high school, that's where my education stopped. Although all 3 of my brothers went on to college, I did not. I had jobs, but they were low-paying jobs with little opportunity. I didn't really understand at 18 how that decision would affect the rest of my life. Every room I walked in, I thought I was less than. Everyone else was smarter because they had a degree, I didn't, and they were worth more than I was. So because of that, I had very low self-esteem. That self-esteem led me to my first husband, who had lots of degrees. He had 2 master's degrees, and he let me know that every day that we were together. He had the control of financially and I just was supposed to take care of the house. He and I got married. We had those 3 cute kids. They're less cute now because they're all teenager-ish, but they're very cute in that picture, so I wanted to share that. So while I was married, I asked him if I could go back to school. He said no. It would be a waste of his money. I was stupid. And no. So then I said, okay, can I go to work, part-time even? No, I needed to take care of the house. Even though I had no access to money, anything that I ever asked for the kids, like the kids need shoes, I had to ask his permission. In my early 40s, I was really sad, and I couldn't figure out why. So I found a therapist, and she helped name the physical and emotional abuse that I was experiencing. She didn't change anything for me, she just offered me support, like social workers do. And with her help, I found the strength to leave that marriage. She was the first social worker I'd ever met. She wasn't going to be the last one I ever met. And she wasn't the only one that helped change my life. Some of the social workers who have helped change my life are in that row right there. And I'm forever grateful. They helped me in ways that I can't even describe. But we're not quite to Seton Hall yet, sorry. Well, I guess, I have to talk about, I went to Bergen Community College because I couldn't afford to go to a 4-year university. And when I was at Bergen Community College, to my surprise, I wasn't stupid. My husband had told me I was stupid, but I wasn't. I got good grades. I stood out to the professors, and I had a professor say to me, "What's the plans next?" And he planted a seed that I could do something more, be something more, and I applied to Seton Hall. So now are we at? No, we're not. Seton Hall. And to my surprise, I got into Seton Hall. And I was able to afford it because of the scholarship that I received. And while I was here, I met some phenomenal professors who believed in me before I knew how to believe in myself, gave me support when I was ready to give up, and I was able to do well at Seton Hall. One of the first classes I ever had, and some of you will know about this class, Research Methods with Dr. Dawn Apgar. I was 40-some years old and I'd never written a research paper. And the first day of class, she said, we're going to have a big assignment and it's a research paper. And some of you, I'm going to suggest, should submit it to the Locus, the undergrad paper, research journal. And I was like, that's not going to happen to me, but that's okay. That night, I started writing the research paper. It was August, it was due in October, but I didn't know how to do a research paper, so I better start now. And I started, those of you who have had the honor of having Dr. Apgar as your professor know that she can be very generous with her time when you care, when you're committed to trying to achieve excellence. And I sent it to her and asked for feedback, and she gave me feedback, and this went on for weeks until she finally said to me, "Laura, you have to stop. I have other students that I need to look at their papers. Your paper will be whatever it's going to be." And I ended up getting published in the Locus, Implications of COVID-19 on Adults, Challenges and Opportunities. And that began my interest in working with older adults. I also was able to, as was mentioned, to be a member of the inaugural Big East Poster Symposium at Madison Square Garden, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide, and had some phenomenal opportunities at internships, working with people with disabilities and older adults, which cemented my passion with working with older adults. So this is a picture from 2022. Some of you guys are here that are in the picture. And I made a poster about how it was about democracy, and so what I focused on is combating social isolation and increasing accessibility for people with disabilities, which was very personal to me because I had been working at the New Jersey Commission for the Blind. And I have to be honest, before we went to this Big East symposium at Madison Square Garden, Vladimir Putin had just invaded Ukraine like a week or so before, and I kind of said a prayer that he would take out the infrastructure so I wouldn't have to go. But he didn't do it, and so I was there. And the thing that was so exciting was there's a lot of problems in this world, and it's really easy to get cynical and think there aren't any solutions. But walking in Madison Square Garden with all these great minds from students all over the Big East, as far away as Nebraska. Who knew Creighton was Nebraska? I didn't know, but I asked them and they told me. I remember that. And you see students and professors working together to solve problems. And it felt so hopeful. I felt the same thing today when I went to go look at the posters of the social work students. It's like we have real problems in this country that we need answers for, but we can't begin to find the answers until we acknowledge it's a problem and then start to investigating solutions. And that, to me, is what Petersheim is all about, what the Big East was all about, and it's very exciting when you consider how professors and students can work together to find those solutions. So when I was at the Big East Symposium, one of my judges was a provost from UConn, and he liked my poster and said, how can I help you come to UConn? But I couldn't go to UConn. I'd already been accepted at Columbia, and Columbia is closer. So I went to Columbia University School of Social Work. I was advanced standing, so I graduated last year at this time. And the focus was clinical work and aging. And I had an internship at the Riverdale Senior Services. Right there is Fufu, Killer Fufu, who unfortunately passed away shortly after I left, but not from sadness, from old age, but he was the therapy dog at the senior center for the older adults. And I just love working with older adults. Columbia was a wonderful opportunity. I was like almost every step of this journey you're going to hear, I was really scared to go. But Seton Hall had set me up. The professors at Seton Hall are superior. And there isn't a single class I took at Columbia that was more challenging than the classes that I took at Seton Hall. So for those of you who are graduating this year and going on to graduate school, I assure you, you are ready. Seton Hall has made you ready. So now I'm going to talk about some of the work that I've done since graduating. Dr. Apgar and I have a few things that we have published. And I also want to point out, these are pictures from the Riverdale Senior Services. These are the older adults that went to that center. And so this paper is about attaining an undergraduate certificate on older adults, examining qualitative experiences. And what Dr. Apgar and I discovered is that people have a misconception of what it's like to work with older adults, that it's the beginning of your career work, boring work, or the end of your career work when you're really tired, and it's not challenging or interesting. And I can tell you that is so far from the truth. Working with older adults is no different than working with any other population. People do not change. If you're grumpy when you're 80, you were probably grumpy when you were 30, and that's just the way it is. The ladies dancing there, every Thursday I would sit in my office and listen to them dancing to music about wanting to have sex on the beach and think, do they know what that song is about? But of course they did. And just because you're older doesn't mean you don't have the same wants, desires, needs as when you were younger. And what we discovered in our research was that students who have experience working with older adults when they were younger, know how vibrant it can be to work with someone and fulfilling personally. And so they have the desire, they understand that it isn't something boring and terrible to experience, but it's actually wonderful. The other thing, we wrote 2 papers about the grand challenges of social work. And in case you don't know what the grand challenges of social work is, social workers and scientists came together and said, we have some serious issues. They can be economic, social, environmental, and we need to find solutions. And we want to get social workers and social work students excited about them and working together to figure out answers. But what I'm finding personally is, unless you went to Seton Hall and Dr. Apgar was your professor, there's a lot of social workers who don't know anything about the grand challenges. When I mention the grand challenges in life, they're like, what? So these 2 different articles, which have been accepted, talk about the undergrad experience as well as the master's level experience, and the importance of infusing that information in colleges. This one we just wrote, and I'm completely shocked that it's already under review to be published, is about caregiving with an abusive history. We always associate caregiving with something that is positive, like your mother must have been so terrific, that's why you're taking care of her now. But that's not always the case. Sometimes people had neglectful, abusive parents, and they, are taking care of them now, not because of some great history together. Maybe they feel responsible culturally, there might be pressure to do so. But it can be really isolating when you're in those situations. You might feel like you're the only person who's experiencing it. And so we wanted to write a paper that let people know, while it's difficult, you're not the only one experiencing it. And and some suggestions on how to deal with it, and also for how people in the helping profession to give support for that. So I know you guys are sad that this is my last slide, but it is. And so what's next? There's a picture of me. I forgot to mention I'm a TA now at Columbia School of Social Work. Dr. Mui's the one in the pink. She's an amazing woman. She's 75 years old, legally blind, and she's just now retiring from Columbia. And I had the honor of being her TA this year, and we taught a dementia class together. Dr. Apgar and I are also working on another manuscript about shame, this shame associated with imposter syndrome. Oh, she added, okay. And I'm also going to be teaching at Go Pirates, Seton Hall in the fall, Intro to Gerontology, which I'm very excited about because I would put up Seton Hall's undergrad up against any university. Also, she made me add the last line, considering a PhD in social work in the future. I don't know about that one, but she never takes no for an answer for me, so you may be saying, hi, Dr. Zaruzin someday. So I'm going to end it here, except for I want to leave, because I've been thinking, like, what do I want to say? What do I want people to remember? You're not going to remember most of what I said, but I want you to remember this. It is never too late to start. And you can be successful if you find people who believe in you. Throughout this story, I did not believe in myself. I had to find people who would believe in me so that I could learn to start. And I still question, but because of their strong belief in me, I have started to believe in myself, and it's taken years. And the other thing that I want to say is nobody does any of this alone. I did not make this change alone, and it would be wrong for me not to mention my second husband, who believes in me and loves me. And when I said I want to go to Columbia, he said, we're going to figure out a way how to do it, even though it's really expensive. And so I stand up here on the shoulders of social workers who showed me how to be compassionate, kind, and that change happens incrementally only with support, and we need to be treating each other with compassion and non-judgment. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. So now what I'd like to do is to recognize the Petersheim Travel Award winners. So there's some of the students that are here today to receive this award. What had happened was during the week of Petersheim, we have, many presentations that are going on throughout the week. And there's somebody who's organizing and basically running the presentation. It's usually we call upon that person to identify some significant outstanding works, probably the top outstanding work that they saw in their presentations, and that can be quite challenging. I've run one of the presentations myself. We ran last night. It was a bio-symposium, and there were about 45 posters up, and myself and a few other faculty, we had to just try to determine, can we pick out, some really significant, they were all great works, but just some we want to recognize. And that's what we're doing right here, is that we're identifying or we're acknowledging people that have been identified as, really standing out in their, in the program that they presented in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out the names of these students who are the Student Travel Award winners. Now, a quick word on the Student Travel Award. What this award is currently $1,000 still, right? It's $1,000 of reimbursement for these students who can take their work that they've been doing here and present it someplace, outside of Seton Hall. All right, and so it's support, for them to get out there with their work and people to meet them to meet other people, things like that. It's and we've had students, taking on this award and doing these kind of things. Just last year, we worked with a student who went to Switzerland to present. So we remember that because the paperwork to get that reimbursement was quite challenging. But it was great. We're happy for the student, and it's just an example of someone really getting out there with their work. I had another one at the same time going to Brazil. So there's two examples. A lot of paperwork. All right, but for today, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out your names, and if you just please just line up in the front here, I'll hand you a certificate. All right, and each certificate says Petersheim Student Travel Award presented to the student for a distinguished presentation at the 28th Annual Petersheim Exposition. So now, and these are in no particular order, by the way, so it's just random. Judy Bosey. So in some cases, we had works that were by multiple authors and all that in one work. So a lot of times, one person who can make it, and that's good. So we have somebody representing them. Okay, I'm going to just try to be without it because I don't want to hold the microphone and hand out cards. Something's going to fall. So, Nadia Guti. Nadia. I'm going to stand over here. I forgot we're also doing the recording thing. That. Okay. Wenfei Wang. Wenfei? Hannah Peters? Ishika Gupta? Sean Scally? Sean? Sahil D'Souza? Keller? Amanda? Leanne Corcoran. Leanne? Shinemi Waduli? Shinemi? Are you here? Helena Schmidberger? And LJ, who's also on that work. Aditya Kasina? Aditya Kasina? And Marco Fanik. Marco, you want to take it for him? All right. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to hand you the mic, and this is just going to get passed on down the line, and just take a minute to tell us who you are, what department you're in, and what did you do that you're here today.
Thank you. What's up? Thank you guys, what an honor. So as Lori Zarusin stated earlier, our work for the social work department was on the grand challenges in social work and society. And my topic was about building financial capability and assets for all. And I did a policy analysis on the Assets for Independence Act, which helps low-income, minority, marginalized, oppressed communities across the board develop independent development accounts. It's match savings through the government. And I wanted to talk about this because, as stated, a lot of like journals and stuff like that, that poverty and racism was the main root of all social injustices and issues, and it was the leading need for social work. And I wanted to talk about that through Dr. Alan Barsky's work. And sorry, guys. And I wanted to focus on the racial wealth gap in society. Let me know if I'm going over. I wanted to focus on the racial wealth gap in society because this is a really prominent issue in America and across the board in all nations also. I broke down the racial wealth gap through income and asset ownership. And why is this an issue? People might be asking me, is that poverty is a known factor when calculating longevity and mortality. And this really affects minority communities. And through research, I've discovered that across the board, white Americans do not lack in this issue at all. They are the prominent leaders, I guess you could say, in private ownership, business ownership, insurance rates, and everything else. And I made recommendations as a social worker that we need to strengthen collaboration between case management and the clients, and how we can get word out to the communities, and on the macro scale, write policies and write funding grants for these programs and services to not only reach more communities, but to maybe develop more programs such as this.
Hi, everyone. My name is Judy. I worked with Tristan Radcliffe and Stephen DeLuise for our Sustainable Development Project through the School of Diplomacy and International Relations. So our project worked to combat the high rates of anemia in women of reproductive age in Cameroon. Currently, about 44% of women of reproductive age do face anemia or have anemia. And so our solution to the project was the Lucky Iron Fish Project. It was originally created as a sustainable development project in 2009, I believe it's the year. And they are currently in about 88 countries around the world and have proven to show a 43% reduction in anemia within those countries. They're very easy to use, and fish being a staple of the diet in Cameroon, we figured it would be a really easy solution to integrate into the society. We would test it via a randomized control test. And it's very easy. All you do is add it to boiling water or soup or whatever you're making that day, add a little bit of citrus to activate it, and you suddenly have a very iron-rich meal that you can then consume in order to prevent those anemic side effects. But yeah.
Hi everyone, my name's Navya, and I conducted a study in the philosophy department. So I wanted to look at how I would be able to apply medical humanities to civic health engagement with a specific focus on addressing minority health disparities. So voting was named a social determinant of health in 2022, and this meant that communities that were more civically engaged and voted more were linked to better health outcomes and better community health. So the specific issue I wanted to look at was that minorities have some of the lowest voter turnout rates across the United States, and I wanted to look at creating a solution that would increase motivation in minority communities to increase voter turnout. So I propose that we use storytelling as a means of creating positive narratives surrounding political participation and health. Storytelling is a really important part of various traditions. We see this in Asian, Native American, and African cultures. So if we're able to facilitate these conversations and construct these positive stories that minorities might be able to resonate with more, we can look at addressing health disparities in a better manner and increasing representation in political domains. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Wenfei Hua, and I'm an early career investigator at Institute of Neuroimmune Pharmacology and also a PhD student in molecular bioscience. I present my work in INIP Symposium, including a lot of presentations by integrating of in silico, in vivo, and in vitro studies in the biomedical research. In my presentation, I present research on the binge alcohol drinking in adolescents can induce spleen atrophy and in a sex-dependent manner. So we use a high-throughput RNA sequencing method followed by a variety of bioinformatics tools, including our Sennenhaus IPA ingenuity pathway analysis lessons to understand why this molecular changes lead to the sex-dependent spleen atrophy. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I also presented at the INIP Symposium on my data on STAT3 of the JAK-STAT pathway signaling in its target gene regulation in thymoma development following ethanol treatment, kind of linking alcohol-induced thymoma and STAT3 target regulation. And we used our in vitro data, again with the IPA system, to predict these novel genes, to identify these by PCR, to show these links. I was a master's student, successfully defended this morning. But yes, so that's the data that I presented today, or yesterday.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ishika. I'm an early career investigator at the Institute of Neuroimmune Pharmacology. I presented on nicotine's impact on spatial memory. So I talked about in the beginning how nicotine, which is very different from tobacco, has surprisingly been shown to have neuroprotective benefits. And so I took differentially expressed genes from rats that were treated with nicotine, and they were uploaded on a database called QKB. And we analyzed those differentially expressed genes and found that memory as a function was enhanced. So then we used ingenuity pathway analysis, which analyzed how nicotine impacts specific molecules which impact spatial memory, and we found a qualitative confirmation that nicotine enhances spatial memory. For future, we'll look into the molecular networks and of how this could work in order to potentially help to create therapeutic avenues for neurodegenerative diseases. I'd like to thank Dr. Chang and the judges for this honor.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sean Scally. I'm a first-year master's student in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. I started doing research as a part of Dr. Gorin's group in 2020 as an undergraduate student, and I've continued it up until now. This is where I was introduced to phthalocyanine chemistry. For anybody not familiar, phthalocyanines are large macrocyclic molecules that act as photosensitizers. My particular area of research is these phthalocyanine derivatives containing both carboxy and ester functionalized groups. I wanted to see the role that the carboxylic acid group played in binding to solid supports, particularly how they interact with these solid supports. We were able to determine in my study that roughly the PC derivative with the carboxylic acid binded roughly 9 times stronger than the ester derivative, which is really great as expected. I'd like to take this time to thank my mentors, Dr. Pelmas and Dr. Gorin, for the opportunity, and I wouldn't be able to be here without them.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sahil, and I've been working with Amanda here under Dr. Badillo in organic chemistry. We've been working with photoacid conjugated catalysis for conjugate addition catalysis. So in essence, we've been working with photoacid generators, which in the presence of a product solvent as well as light become highly acidic and generate strong acids. These strong acids are then able to catalyze a 1,4 conjugate addition between various alkyl-vinyl ketones and indoles for a highly specific, stereospecific reaction. We've been able to demonstrate that these reactions are highly regioselective as well as highly controlled in how we're able to activate them, as well as requiring only mild conditions. So yes, thank you.
My name is Amanda. I've been working with Sahil for a very long time. I'm not going to give you the whole spiel again. I just wanted to quickly say thank you for this opportunity. It's amazing. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is LJ Passion, and with Helena, we were able to do some research in biology with Dr. Cottrell. We focused on manganese chloride, and we treated mice cells with manganese chloride and investigated its effect on inflammation via the arachidonic acid pathway. So we basically took some mouse cells and we treated them with manganese chloride with different doses through a 7-day period. We then collected their media samples and their proteins. We performed Western blots, ELISAs, and other analyses, and we did find that there is a dose-dependent effect on inflammatory markers with treatment of manganese chloride.
Hi everyone, my name is Aditya and my partner Marco, who cannot be here today. We conducted research on diabetic bone healing in Dr. Jessica Cottrell's lab. So we tested two compounds, vitamin D3 and orthosilicic acid, which is a bioavailable form of silicon. And we tested to see if these two compounds can help accelerate mouse osteoblast cells in cell growth in vitro. And we were able to find 2 doses with both vitamin D and orthosilicic acid that helped improve cell proliferation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's get one round of applause for everybody who's up here. You can all go to your seats now. Okay, so now I'd like to introduce Dr. Jose Lopez, who is he's the director of the Office of Grants and Research Services at Academics. He's also a Petersheim Steering Committee co-chair along with Dr. Chang, and he's going to share with us his closing remarks. So, Dr. Lopez.
So my first appointment and primary appointment is professor of physics here at the university, and I am helping direct and try my best to lead research here at the university, and I do include in my attempts to improve and help foster the research and scholarship we do here at the university, the Academic Expo. So as we've heard, this is the 28th year of the Expo, and it's become more than a tradition. I think it's become a part of who we are as a learning community, as a university. I think one of the key things, I've thought a lot about this over the years, is what's distinguishable about any excellent, prestigious university where you would want to come, as Lori was saying, and study. It's not the fact that you're going to a class or a lab, a teaching lab or a teaching class, and you're just learning what has been known for a long time, right? If you're in physics, you're repeating experiments that were done by Galileo, close to 500 years ago. The key thing of the universities is what you take from that base knowledge, that base understanding, and what you do with it. And I think there is no better example and no better place to witness the taking of that knowledge that's gained and applying it to different things, whether it's social work, whether it's doing chemistry, or whether it's doing a business, or whatever it might be, than the Academic Expo. I think this is the witness. We put it on YouTube thanks to Mike Supius and his team every year. And when people ask me when they're interested in either coming here to Seton Hall and studying here at Seton Hall, or they're interested in becoming potentially researchers here or faculty here at the university, I always refer them to the Expo, to the webpage and to the videos that we have up there, the videos of the opening ceremony, the videos of the different events that we do, to give them an idea of who we are as a community and who we are and what's important to us and the type of work that we do here and the type of education that you would get here as a student. So this is the 28th year. I don't know how long I'll be here. The expiration date of my lifespan is like everybody's. So I don't know. But I hope this will continue. Definitely the 29th year. Dr. Chang and I are committed to that, although Dr. Chang's going to be on sabbatical. Quarter century, okay, Suli, we'll see at that point there. But for all extents and purposes, this event is part of who we are as a community. Will continue on for many years, and no better display than what we saw this year at the closing ceremony. So my final point, my final thought here is the students that you saw here are now the candidates and the other ones that weren't able to come and be with us today in our awards ceremony here are now the candidates for the Big East, the Big East Research Symposium that is going to be in its 4th year. Lori was the inaugural part of the team that first year. So it happens right immediately before the men's basketball championship game on the Saturday in usually the second week of March. So these are the candidates. So this will be the team. So what I want to do is just challenge the current students to continue doing the research that you're doing it with your research mentors, whether they're faculty or senior researchers here, postdocs or advanced graduate students. I encourage you to continue doing that, continue doing your work, and we will look to see if you're selected to represent us next year. So this year we did extremely well. I didn't see Jonathan Zhang here, but he did. We had our first. Where is he? Up there, all the way in the top. So Jonathan Zhang received the silver medal this year. They give a gold, a silver, and a bronze. He was a silver medalist this year, the highest honor we've received at the event. And Jonathan is taking his research next year on a study abroad. He's going to be in Taiwan at the National Institute of Health there. So this is an example of what you should be doing. Take the $1,000 of travel money that you've received for the reimbursement for travel. Go to professional conferences, present your work, network with people there, and then also, hopefully, if you're selected to represent us at the Big East Championship, help us continue to show off how great we are as a university and as a learning institution of higher education. So thank you, everyone, and go on forth. Go Pirates.
All right, so with that then, thank you, Jose, that was really, really good. That concludes our ceremony, except for one thing. If we could have all the students, outside here in the atrium against the wall for a picture. All right, we just want to take a picture, and then we have some refreshments, so we invite everybody to join us for conversation and refreshments. Thank you all for coming.